I'm Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different, and every breakup is different. Work with me, and you'll get professional help on your situation. Just click on the link in the description below, or go to my website, askcraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Kenneth, and in this video, I'm going to be talking to you about relationships that won't last. Well, maybe you don't want to hear what I'm about to say, but a lot of relationships simply aren't going to make it. It's the truth, and it's the unfortunate truth because we get very attached to people that we have been with for a while, that we formed a bond with, created special memories with, but it takes a lot of work and skill and desire to make a relationship work long term. And for those of us that have had attachment traumas in our early childhood, it's a real struggle to maintain a healthy romantic relationship, because the relationships that we learned in our childhood were really unhealthy. There could have been a lot of controlling behavior, manipulation, forced you to repress your feelings, maybe you were ignored, maybe you didn't feel validated, and so you simply have a very low self-esteem, you don't have a high value of yourself, and so you tolerate bad behavior. So, there has to be respect in relationships. If you don't respect your partner, you're not going to love them. And so if you're tolerating behavior where somebody is constantly disrespecting you, they're not going to love you, and eventually they're going to be able to walk away. Nobody likes a doormat. And it's healthy to set boundaries and say, no, this is not okay. I am not going to let you treat me like this. And if they continue to do so repeatedly, you have to put yourself first and say, I have to leave this relationship. And when you are incredibly insecure and you're afraid you're not going to get your needs met by somebody new coming along because you've never had your needs met before, so now you're thinking, great, if it doesn't happen, no one's going to meet my needs, and you're going to go unmet again, it's really, really scary. So the healthiest place to be is okay without a relationship. You don't have to like it, but it's good to stay in a place where you're okay without it. And if you're not, you're going to stay in relationships that aren't working for you. And you're going to see that in this email coaching. I've got a good email coaching today that I think you guys are going to enjoy, okay? So they said, hey Craig, this is my first time contacting you. I tried other coaches, but they barely gave any detailed insights. So, based on your videos on YouTube, I've decided to give you a try. My name is Roger. I am in my late 20s, and I am a freelance designer. My ex-girlfriend is in her early 20s. You can call her Lydia. We were in a relationship for about 2 years. We are both Vietnamese, but born in different countries, where I came here when I was 7 years old. She is studying in school right now, and we met through a mutual friend at their birthday party. Somehow, I managed to make her obsessed with me just from that evening. Well, it was a fantasy, okay? If she's obsessed with you after one evening, does that show any kind of emotional health or maturity? No, it's kind of overboard, right? Like maybe she's feeling attracted to you and like, ooh, who are you? I'm interested. But obsessed over one evening? It's a red flag right there, right? Watch, let's see where else this goes. Probably a week or two after she dumped her first boyfriend, with whom she was with a year, so she could start pursuing me It seemed really strange to me. Alright, so here's another red flag. A week or two after she dumped her boyfriend, who she was with a year. So what did she do? She left that relationship, quickly found a rebound. She's obviously afraid to be alone. Let's see how this plays out. Let's see if this continues where down the road I think it's going to go. I wasn't interested at the time, but I gave her opportunity to get to know me, and slowly we fell in love with each other. The first year was perfect. It was exciting, passionate, fun, and everything you would expect from a good relationship. We were not living together, but were seeing each other almost every day. But as time passed, it became less and less. It has been almost 5 months since the breakup. It's been a while now. At the beginning, I did all the mistakes. I was crying, pleading, begging, and was insecure. Now I realized I was insecure during the end of our relationship. I was showing a lot of negative emotions, like jealousy. I was moody and overall in the negative mindset. Well, obviously you were feeling anxiety at that time, and so your anxiety was causing you to try and control her. You felt like she was pulling away, so in order to control her, you were being negative. You were trying to negate her, to try and punish her, to overpower her, to get her to do what you wanted. Because what happens with us is people fear otherness. We fear that our partner is a completely separate human being. And that when they are other than us, we feel threatened. And so that was going on here. You were feeling threatened by her having her own identity and pulling away from you. So you tried to negate her, tried to control her, and it wound up pushing her away. It was a big shock for me to hear that she wanted to break up. Why? Why was it a shock for you? Well, my guess would be because you have so much anxiety, you aren't really paying attention to what she wanted. You were so focused on reconnecting with her, so your anxiety would soothe itself. But you didn't realize it. For me, it came out of nowhere. Everything seemed fine, but it wasn't fine for a long time, and I had no idea. Very common. A lot of us go through a breakup completely blindsided, just not realizing what happened, where is this going wrong, till you start to see my videos, and then you get a lot of aha moments. Just a week after the breakup, I found out from her best friend that she slept with one guy who she knew, here we go, a few months from the place she has a part-time job. What happened here? Things weren't going well with him, so she lined somebody right up, and that's exactly what she did, because she slept with that guy a week later. Why? Because she was working with him, and she probably had a crush on him, started to feel attraction to him, pulling away from you, seeing where it was going with him, and then just lined him right up and eased right over to him. And guess what? That's the exact same thing she did to her last boyfriend to get with you. Think about that one, right? She just did to you what she did to the other guy, but you weren't thinking about that because you were happy. And one of the things that you guys need to be well aware of is that how somebody treats another person, they'll do the same thing to you. And you're naive if you think otherwise. Because you think, well, I'm different, I'm special, that guy was like this, and he was probably terrible, or this girl was like that, and she was awful. Remember, you're only getting one side of the story. You need to be very, very careful and pay very close attention to somebody when you first start dating them. Because when they get into a relationship like this with you, you can bet they'll do the same thing to you when they're getting out of it with you and getting it into someone else. And that's exactly what she did here. So you shouldn't be surprised, because you've seen her do it before. I was devastated to hear that and couldn't understand how she can betray our relationship like that. You watched her do it to her last boyfriend. Oh, you thought you were different? Unfortunately, that's not how people operate. You thought you were different, and that's how we all feel. I'm different. They're not going to do that to me. That person was no good for them. That person didn't treat them right. In a lot of cases, they're not giving you the whole story. And so, you always want to pay attention to how somebody treats the other person and other people in their lives. Now, I know he is most probably a rebound. Well, if this guy was a rebound, what were you? Because she started dating you a week or two after she broke up with her boyfriend, remember? So how is it any different? It's not. Even at the time, she told her best friend that he is just a friend with benefits. However, it seems like they're getting closer, and she is starting to have feelings for him. No surprise there. That's what happens. The first reason why she wanted a breakup was she liked someone else. Yeah, the guy I mentioned. Yeah. Asked her for more, and she started to get emotional and told me all the other reasons. Well, all the other reasons probably aren't really that important. The reason is that this kind of woman is going to leave relationships as soon as she feels like she's got someone lined up, or leave them and just find somebody else right away. She doesn't want to be alone. She said she did not feel happy anymore. So many small things from me were irritating her, like not being able to quit smoking, not keeping my word, not pursuing my goals and career in life, and probably the biggest reason was taking her for granted. She felt neglected and unloved. Also, she was upset that I told her after 1 year of our relationship that I did not finish college. Well, she had some very valid points there. If you weren't keeping your word and you were taking her for granted, not making her feel loved, why would she stay? Would you? Her parents are divorced and were forced to marry each other because of an unexpected pregnancy with her, by the way. Her parents were not happy and argued a lot. Her mother was very strict, and her father didn't care very much about her or her siblings. So she's had a rough life. Didn't feel wanted. Guess what? You didn't make her feel wanted. Now you see why she wanted out of there? You looking for insight? He once cheated on her mother when she was having her younger sister. As a child, she was abused by the husband of her cousin. Oof. So now, we're looking at some other kind of abuse here. It dragged on from her, oh my gosh, from ages 9 till she was 14. Oh, that's terrible. My gosh, that's awful. It would be incredibly hard for this girl to trust anybody. How could she? She's got massive amounts of trauma. 5 years of that? Oh, man. This poor woman needs therapy. It's not her fault, obviously, but, you know, as you can see in the culture lately, a lot more people are coming forth with sexual abuse allegations and charges, and it's really taken on a whole nother level. It's really kind of started since that whole Bill Cosby thing, right? Where Hannibal Buress, the comedian, was talking about it on stage, just doing a joke about it. And now it's avalanched into everybody coming out and sharing their story. And you know what? Good for those people, because they're victims. And for them to have the courage to come forward and talk about those horrible things that happened to them, in which they felt so much shame and guilt, which they shouldn't, but it's it's amazing to see how quickly our culture is fighting for women's rights, and not just women too, but men too, that have had abuse. I mean, I've seen a couple guys come out and talk about things that have happened to them too. So it's nice to see that we're finally dealing with this, because statistically, I believe it was like they say 1 in 4 girls is abused, and you know, honestly, I think it's much higher than that. I just think that's the number that have come forward in the past. So, you know, this poor girl has a lot of issues, but because she hasn't dealt with them, they're going to keep coming out in her relationships, and she's going to do all kinds of acting out. I know she loved me despite the extremely difficult decision she had to make. You see, I don't think it was as hard as you think it was, honestly. And I think you're kind of fooling yourself. For you, you're projecting that you think it would be difficult for her. I don't think it was that difficult. She went and she started to like this other guy and then started dating him right away. Just like she did before. Why was it so difficult? It wasn't difficult for her to leave her boyfriend for you, remember? Remember how you talked about how she was chasing you? Literally, like chasing you, and you weren't even interested? What do you think is going on here? The same thing. You don't want to hear it, but I'm sure that's what's going on here. I just want to know if there is a possibility to rekindle some kind of relationship with her in the future, and what should I do? Well, honestly, this is a situation that I would not pursue. I wouldn't recommend it, and I'm not going to recommend it for you. We have somebody that has some serious trauma going on, and quite honestly has not shown any stability to stay committed into a relationship when there are any kinds of problems. She's unhappy, she doesn't talk about it, she finds somebody new, and she finds a way out. What makes you think she's going to change that? Unless she comes to you and says, you know what, you are a great guy, I do love what we had together, I am ready to work this out, and I'm ready to work on myself and fix some of these issues, deal with my past. There's nothing you could do for this. I mean, there really isn't. And I wouldn't recommend you trying to chase down a woman who basically was talking to another guy when you were together, and she basically hunted you down to get someone to replace her last boyfriend. And unfortunately, she's probably going to continue to do this unless she really deals what her issues are. But what is the possibility to rekindle something like this? I mean, she might come back, but that's not the kind of vibe that I get from this kind of girl. I certainly wouldn't chase her. She already likes somebody new. What are you going to do? Try and talk her into coming back to you, and when she's already basically cheated on you and looked for a way out? No, you've got to have self-respect for yourself and decide that you want a partner that is going to stick it out and try and make it work with you long term. You know, I don't think she has the skills to do it. She's not showing you the desire to do it, and I certainly wouldn't recommend chasing after somebody who does this stuff to you. So, if she does come back in the future and you want to give it another shot, that's up to you. But you definitely want to guard your heart here and protect yourself, knowing that she's most likely going to do the same thing again. Not everybody will, and there are plenty of people that will say, you know what, they've had a change of heart, they really do want to change, and of course it's possible that she does that, and maybe she will, and good for her if she does. But if she doesn't, the way that this is, it's not going to last. So, if you want to get my help personally, just go to my website, askcraig.net, sign up for the coaching option that works best for you. I do email coaching, I do Skype coaching, and if you got to get with me right away, I do offer emergency Skype coaching. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth, and I will talk with you soon.